Moment in every woman's life when she must decide, am I merely surviving or am I rising? Not in silence, not in hesitation, but with full conviction every single day. Because the truth is this: your habits shape your destiny. These are not suggestions. These are not trends. These are the foundations of a powerful, grounded and awakened woman. Master them, and you will no longer chase change. You will become the change. Let's begin. The moment you open your eyes each morning, you are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to reaction, the other to command. Most people stumble into their day, checking their phone before they've even taken a breath. But a woman of discipline, a woman who leads herself, she does not begin her day by surrendering to chaos. She rises with clarity, not confusion. She meets herself before she meets the world. And that one difference sets the tone for everything that follows. The way you begin is the way you continue. That is why your mornings are not just part of your day. They are the origin of your power. You must understand, your mornings are sacred. They are not for noise. They are not for gossip, scrolling, or distraction. Your mind in its waking state is fertile, absorbent, open. Confidence truly is the key to. What you feed it in those first few moments becomes the lens through which you see the entire day. If you allow anxiety, comparison, and urgency to enter you first, you set a tone of reaction. But if you feed your mind silence, gratitude, and stillness, you activate presence. You don't begin your day inside the storm. You begin above it. A powerful woman does not reach for her phone. She reaches inward first. There must be ritual in the morning, not for the sake of trend, but for the sake of alignment. Whether it is 5 minutes or 50, you carve out a space that belongs only to you. This is where your breath becomes your anchor. Your thoughts become ordered. Your spirit becomes alert. Some meditate, some stretch, some write, pray, or reflect. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters that you do it with intention. You are not killing time. You are creating clarity. And in a world that constantly pulls at you, clarity is the rarest form of strength. Do not confuse routine with ritual. Routine is automatic, lifeless, mechanical, but ritual is sacred, chosen, powerful. When you turn your morning into a ritual, you declare to the universe that you are no longer on autopilot. You are leading your life, not following it. The tea you sip, the journal you write in, the breath you take, all become symbols of self-leadership. You are no longer waiting for the world to give you direction. You are giving it to yourself. And when a woman walks out of her door centered, grounded, and clear, nothing can pull her off course. This is where discipline begins. Not in a loud declaration, but in a quiet choice. The discipline to get up when it's easier to sleep. The discipline to prioritize your soul over your screen. The discipline to sit with your own thoughts instead of numbing them. These are not small decisions. They are the first battle you win each day. And if you win that battle, everything else flows from it. Your conversations carry more weight. Your reactions are steadier. Your time is better guarded. Your presence becomes undeniable, all because you chose to command your morning. Many women are searching for confidence, focus, and balance, but they are not creating the space to build them. These qualities are not found. They are forged, and the forge is your morning. You do not need another podcast, another book, or another voice telling you what to do. You need a mirror, a quiet room, a promise to yourself that every morning, without fail, you will meet yourself before the world does. Because the woman who does that, she doesn't chase clarity, she embodies it. She doesn't need to force outcomes. Her presence attracts them. And it all begins the moment she opens her eyes. Your energy is not infinite. It is sacred, potent, and deeply personal. Yet too often, women allow it to be scattered, drained, or consumed by people and situations unworthy of it. The truth no one wants to say is this: you are responsible for what you allow into your space. You cannot blame the world for your exhaustion if you hand out access to everyone. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you say no to the woman you are becoming. Guarding your energy is not selfish. It is tragic. It is the foundation of longevity, peace, and purpose. You must begin to see your energy as currency. Valuable, limited, powerful. Would you hand your bank account to a stranger? No. Confidence truly is the key too. Then why hand your mental peace, your emotional stability, your sacred attention to people who do not honor it? Every conversation, every phone call, every scroll, every glance, it either gives or takes. It either grounds you or unravels you. When you start filtering your day with that awareness, you stop entertaining chaos. You stop answering to every vibration that knocks at your door. You realize not everything that demands your attention deserves it. There is a cost to being too available. Confidence truly is the key to. When you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to yourself. And when you abandon yourself enough times, it becomes a habit. A woman who constantly pours without refilling becomes a shell. Present but not powerful. Seen but not felt. If you don't protect your space, you become reactive, exhausted, easily manipulated by noise. But when you guard your energy with clarity and courage, you rise above the noise. You stop performing. You start preserving. And that shift, from people-pleasing to power-keeping, is a mark of self-mastery. You owe no one constant access. Confidence is the key too. Not everyone gets to sit at your table. Your boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks, and you hold the key. The people who love you will understand your need for silence, for solitude, for sacred space. And the ones who don't, let them go. Let them misunderstand you. Let them call it distant, cold, or even arrogant. Because the woman who is aligned with her truth doesn't shrink to be digestible. She expands into who she is unapologetically. And that requires space. It requires boundaries. It requires saying no without guilt and yes without explanation. Your energy must be channeled, not scattered. Be intentional about where you invest it. Does that conversation elevate you? Does that environment feed your purpose? Does that habit nourish your spirit? If the answer is no, then it's not for you. Don't negotiate with what diminishes you. You are not here to survive your day. You are here to own it. But you can't own your day when your energy is leaking into places it doesn't belong. You don't need to be cold. You need to be clear. Because clarity protects what kindness alone cannot. There is an unshakable peace that arrives when you stop trying to fix, manage, or explain everything. When you stop absorbing the moods and problems of others as if they are your own. That peace is born the moment you reclaim your energy. You begin to realize that your presence is a privilege, not a given. And when you carry yourself with that awareness, everything shifts. Your relationships, your decisions, your vision. You no longer chase validation because you've built an internal home that doesn't need constant repair to... That's what happens when a woman guards her energy. She doesn't just survive the world. She transforms the atmosphere around her. We live in a world that glorifies movement. Being busy, constantly doing, always rushing. But motion without intention is just noise. It's not progress. It's distraction disguised as productivity. A woman who moves with purpose is not just active. She is aligned. Every step she takes, every decision she makes, carries a reason. And in that reason is her power. You don't become extraordinary by doing more. You become extraordinary by doing what you matters, again and again, with unwavering focus. Purpose is not just found in goals. It's found in how you show up for your life, minute by minute. Too many women are exhausted not because they're weak, but because they're scattered. They're pulled in 100 directions, giving pieces of themselves to tasks, people, and expectations that don't serve their deeper calling. It's not that they lack energy. It's that they lack alignment. When your actions don't match your inner truth, you feel off balance. You feel lost in your own life. That's why it's not enough to be busy. You must ask Kaji, who is what I'm doing today building the woman I want to be tomorrow? If the answer is no, something must shift. Because true power doesn't come from pace. It comes from purpose. Purposeful movement demands clarity. And clarity doesn't arrive by accident. You must create space to reflect, to assess, to reconnect with your vision. Without that pause, you become reactive, not responsive. You do what's urgent, not what's important. But the woman who checks in with herself regularly, who asks what matters, who filters her choices through her values, she doesn't waste time on what doesn't move her forward. She doesn't just go with the flow, she directs the flow. Her life doesn't happen to her. She authors it, one deliberate action at a time. Even in the smallest things, intention matters. The way you get dressed in the morning, the tone of your voice when you speak, the energy you bring into a room. You are always communicating something, even when you're silent. So ask yourself, what is my presence saying? Are you moving with conviction or with confusion? Do you enter spaces owning your worth, or are you shrinking to be accepted? Purpose is not just for your goals. It lives in your posture, your pace, your energy. And when you move with it, people feel it. They may not know what it is, but they will respect it. You must become a woman who values direction over speed. There will always be pressure to do more, be more, chase more. But when you're deeply rooted in your why, you no longer chase. You attract. You don't rush. You arise. You know where you're going, and every step becomes a declaration of that knowing. Let others run in circles. Let them wear their business like a badge. You move with quiet fire, with grounded confidence, with the kind of focus that cannot be shaken by trends or noise. Purposeful movement is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about being fully engaged with what you're doing, even if it's simple. Washing dishes, answering emails, speaking to your child. If you can be intentional in the small, you can be powerful in the big. This is how you shift from a life of pressure to a life of power. You stop performing and you start living fully, deeply, deliberately, because every time you choose purpose over distraction, you are not just managing your life, you are mastering it. Every day you are speaking to yourself, whether you realize it or not. Your thoughts are not just passing ideas. They are commands that shape your identity, beliefs, and behaviors. The most powerful voice in your life is not the one from a stage, a screen, or a stranger. It is your own. What you say to yourself in the quiet corners of your day becomes the foundation of your reality. And yet, so many women walk through life repeating silent insults. I'm not enough. I can't do this. I always mess up. These thoughts don't just live in your mind, they shape your world. Until you change your inner language, you will remain trapped by invisible chains of your own making. Speaking power into yourself is not about hype or arrogance. It is about truth. It is about reminding yourself of what is already inside you, especially when the world tries to make you forget. Affirmations are not fluffy words. They are fierce declarations. They are the verbal armor you put on before stepping into battle. When you look in the mirror each morning and say, I am worthy, I am strong, I am focused, I am becoming the woman I was born to be, you are not lying to yourself. You are speaking into yourself what the noise of the world tries to bury. And with consistency, those words become belief, and belief becomes action. There will be days when you feel low, unsure, disconnected. That's normal. That's human. But those are the exact moments when you must lean on your spoken truth. Because when your emotions waver, your of words can anchor you. When the inner critic gets loud, the empowered voice you've cultivated must be louder. You must build the habit of speaking strength into your life until it becomes automatic. Until your first response to failure is not self-blame, but self-inquiry. Until your default is no longer, what's wrong with me? But rather, what can I learn from this? That shift in language is the beginning of self-leadership. Many women wait for someone else to validate them. A partner, a boss, a parent, a friend. But waiting for external validation is a dangerous game because it will never be enough. Even when it comes, it can't fill what you haven't filled for yourself. That's why you must become your own source of encouragement. You must become fluent in the language of empowerment. You don't need applause to believe in your value. You don't need agreement to honor your path. When you know who you are and speak it daily, you stop shrinking for acceptance. You start expanding into your full identity. Speaking power is not only for yourself. It also teaches the world how to treat you. When you carry yourself with conviction, when you use words that reflect strength, clarity, and dignity, you raise the standard for how others interact with you. People can feel when a woman knows her worth. They listen differently. They approach differently. And not because she's louder, but because she's lay-anchored. Words carry frequency, and when yours are aligned with truth and purpose, they ripple into every space you enter. This is not performance, it's presence. It's the quiet authority that doesn't need to convince, because it simply is. You don't need to wait for the right moment to speak power into yourself. It begins now, in traffic, in the shower, in between tasks, in the middle of a breakdown. You whisper truth when the doubt gets loud. You speak life even when the results aren't visible yet. Because words are seeds, and the woman who consistently plants power into her inner world will one day look up and realize she's walking in a garden of strength she built with her own voice. Every sentence of self-belief you speak is a brick in the foundation of the woman you are becoming. Speak wisely, speak boldly, speak daily. You can fill your calendar, complete your to-do list, meet everyone's expectations, and still feel empty. Because fulfillment doesn't come from productivity alone. It comes from connection. Not just to your goals, but to your soul. A woman can move through life on autopilot for years, constantly busy but spiritually starved. She gets things done, she holds things together, but inside she feels a quiet ache she can't explain. That ache is not weakness, it's a signal. It's the soul's way of whispering, "You've forgotten me." You were not created just to do. You were created to be deeply, fully alive. And that aliveness begins when you start feeding your soul, not just your schedule. We live in a culture that worships hustle and rarely honors stillness. But a woman who never pauses to nourish her inner world will eventually burn out, no matter how strong she is. Rest is not laziness. Reflection is not wasted time. These are not luxuries. They are lifelines. You cannot pour from a dry spirit. You cannot lead love, create, or build from an empty well. You must learn to protect the spaces that refill you. Whether it's a quiet morning with tea and a book, a walk in nature, a deep prayer, or a moment of silence, you must fight for that time as if your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Feeding your soul means surrounding yourself with what uplifts you. It means choosing environments, conversations, and content that awaken your truth, not distract you from it. It's the books you read, the music you listen to, the voices you allow in. Are they feeding your fears or your faith? Are they calling you higher or numbing you out? You become what you consume, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So curate your life like it matters, because it does. This is not about cutting off the world. It's about protecting your essence. You don't have to apologize for prioritizing your peace. You teach the world how to treat you by how you treat yourself. One of the most radical acts a woman can do is slow down in a world that demands she rush, to sit with herself without distraction, to ask, "What do I need right now?" and to listen without guilt. So many women have been conditioned to put everyone else's needs before their own, to equate self-sacrifice with virtue. But constantly abandoning yourself is not noble. It's harmful. You are not meant to live at the mercy of external demands. You are meant to live in alignment with your inner compass. And that compass can only guide you if you take the time to hear it. There is wisdom inside you that no book, no guru, no trend can replace. But it's quiet. It doesn't shout. It waits for stillness. And the more you feed your soul, the louder that wisdom becomes. That is how a woman begins to trust herself. That is how she stops second guessing and starts embodying her own knowing. She no longer needs constant advice or external validation. She moves differently, not out of arrogance, but out of spiritual authority. She has made space for her soul, and her soul responds by guiding her with clarity, peace, and undeniable strength. Feeding your soul is not a one-time act. It's a daily commitment. Just as your body needs food and water, your spirit needs nourishment. And this nourishment is personal. What fills one woman may not fill another. That's why you must get honest about what truly restores you, what brings you back to yourself, what helps you breathe deeper, love harder, and live freer. Because when your soul is fed, you don't have to force joy, it flows. You don't have to chase peace, you carry it. And in a world of noise, a nourished woman is a rare and powerful force. Time is your most precious, non-renewable resource. Once it's gone, it does not come back. And yet, too many women treat it like it's endless, giving it away to meaningless conversations, staying in spaces that no longer serve them, delaying their dreams and postponing their healing. The truth is, every minute you spend, you invest. The question is, what are you building with your time? If your daily choices are not aligned with the woman you're becoming, you're not just wasting time, you're wasting yourself. You don't get this life twice. You don't get these mornings, these moments this year, ever again. What you do with your time is a reflection of what you truly value. Mastering time isn't about controlling every second. It's about becoming intentional with your priorities. It's looking at your calendar and asking, Confil, does this schedule reflect my vision or someone else's demands? It's realizing that busy is not a badge of honor if it's rooted in avoidance, overcommitment, or lack of clarity. So many women are overwhelmed not because they have too much to do, but because they are doing too many things that don't matter. If it doesn't align with your purpose, it doesn't deserve your energy. If it drains your spirit and delays your growth, it is too expensive. You must become ruthless with your time, not because you are cold, but because you are clear. Every woman needs sacred time for herself, undisturbed, uninterrupted, and unapologetic. Time to think, time to breathe, time to create, time to simply be. The world will not hand you this space. You must claim it. You must carve it out like your life depends on it, because in a spiritual sense, it does. If you are constantly available to everything and everyone, you will become unavailable to yourself. And the moment you disconnect from your inner self, you begin to live reactively instead of intentionally. This is how women lose their way. By letting the noise dictate their pace and the expectations of others become their default rhythm. Time is also a mirror. It reveals your patterns. Are you constantly delaying what matters, convincing yourself that later will be the perfect moment? There is no perfect moment. Later is not promised. The right time is the time you have now. Too many women bury their dreams under the weight of daily survival, thinking they'll chase them when life slows down. But life rarely slows. The only way to honor your calling is to act. Even in imperfection, even in fear, even in uncertainty. Progress is born in movement, not in waiting. And the woman who learns to use her time wisely becomes unstoppable. Not because she does more, but because she chooses better. What you give your time to, you give your life to. So choose wisely. Protect your mornings. Command your evenings. Guard the hours in between. Don't let other people's chaos rob you of your clarity. Don't let notifications, distractions, and obligations dilute your destiny. You were not created to spend your life managing emergencies and checking boxes. You were created to build, to grow, to rise. And that only happens when you place value on your time. When you treat it like the sacred gift it is, not something to be filled, but something to be fulfilled. The woman who masters time does not race the clock. She aligns with it. She knows when to push and when to pause, when to speak and when to listen, when to grind and when to ground herself. Her life has rhythm. Her days have direction. She doesn't just wake up and see what happens. She wakes up, enters, makes things happen. She is not rushed because she is rooted. And in that stillness, in that clarity, in that rhythm, she becomes a force. Because the most powerful woman is not the busiest. She's the one who knows exactly where her time is going and why. There's a power in knowing when to say yes. But there's a freedom in learning when to say no. Too many women are trained to be agreeable, accommodating, and available. From an early age, they're taught that saying yes keeps the peace, makes others happy, and earns approval. But what they're not taught is that too many yeses can become a prison. Every yes you give is a no to something else. Your time, your energy, your boundaries, your values. When you agree to things that go against your spirit, you betray yourself quietly, consistently, until you forget how to stand tall in your own life. And that quiet betrayal becomes exhaustion, resentment, and disconnection. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you sovereign. It means you know yourself well enough to protect your priorities, your peace, and your purpose. It's not about being cold or unkind. It's about being clear. Clear on what drains you. Clear on what distracts you. Clear on what delays your growth. The truth is, not every invitation is an opportunity. Not every request is your responsibility. Not every relationship deserves unlimited access to you. And if you don't decide where your energy goes, someone else will. Mastering the art of no is how you reclaim your life from people, patterns, and pressures that were never meant to hold it. There is deep wisdom in boundaries. They are not walls to keep people out. They are bridges to keep your truth intact. A woman who lacks boundaries lives at the mercy of everyone's needs but her own. She becomes overbooked, overextended, and overlooked, even by herself. But when a woman sets healthy, loving boundaries, she teaches others how to honor her space, her time, and her soul. She stops bending herself into versions that please others and starts becoming a version that pleases herself. Boundaries are not about separation. They are about alignment. They allow you to stay rooted in who you are, even as the world pulls in 100 directions. It's also important to understand that not everyone will celebrate your no. Some people are only comfortable with you when you're convenient to them. The moment you start protecting your peace, prioritizing your joy, and choosing your growth, you will disrupt dynamics that were built on your silence. That's okay. Let discomfort reveal who was truly there for your well-being and who was there for your compliance. Growth is rarely comfortable, but it is as always worth it. Your no may disappoint others, but it will deliver you. And the freedom that comes from being honest about your limits is far greater than the approval that comes from pretending you have none. You must also unlearn the guilt that comes with choosing yourself. Guilt is a trick of conditioning. It whispers that saying no makes you ungrateful, unkind, or unworthy. But boundaries are not a betrayal of others. They are an act of devotion to yourself. You are allowed to say no without a long explanation. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to protect your peace without apology. You are not responsible for managing everyone's emotions. You are only responsible for managing your own integrity. And when your yes is honest and your no is firm, you live with a sense of alignment that no one can take from you. The woman who learns to say no is not just creating space, she is creating standards. She stops chasing validation and starts commanding respect. She becomes unavailable to chaos, manipulation, and energy leaks. Her no is not a rejection. It is a redirection toward what truly matters. And the more she honors her inner voice, the louder and clearer it becomes. She moves through the world not from obligation, but from intention. Not from guilt, but from grace. Her boundaries are not barriers. They are declarations of self-worth. And in a culture that demands more, her no becomes a revolutionary act of self-love. If something in you stirred while hearing this, don't ignore it. That's not just inspiration. That's a rare reminder of who you are and who you're meant to become. These habits aren't just suggestions. They are as invitations to rise, to reclaim, and to rebuild your life from the inside out. Start today. Start small. But start with an intention. Share this message with a woman who needs to hear it. Speak these truths into your own life. And if you're ready to go deeper, to live wiser, to lead yourself boldly, then make this your daily practice, not just a passing moment. Your evolution begins now. Choose to rise.